Hi guys, welcome back to Law of Creation. And today we're talking about how and why evolution had no choice, how physics forced life into creation. We're able to show today how those original molecules and atoms in that primordial earth self-organize into those precursors of what we would call life today. And that's what this channel is all about. And I'm David, this is Nebula the physics cat. And of course, she wasn't always a large physics cat. She was once a tiny little physics cat. And she's gonna help us navigate through this process we call ODC, optimally dissipative configuration. So her ancestors were actually mean and ferocious. And so she thinks she's still mean and ferocious, even though she's just a little cutie pie. So what do you say we go around and see what we can uncover about ODC, optimally dissipative configuration, and how it applies to the origin of life. So why do we say that evolution had no choice? Because it's all built in the laws of thermodynamics. This is the law of creation, or ODC. And what it says is that with all the possible configurations, so whether we're designing a bridge, or it's the original molecules and amino acids of pre-life, this law states that the final configuration is always the one that helps dissipate energy or matter the most. I'll say it again. According to this formula, the universe selects always the configuration that helps energy and matter dissipate the most. So this is what this S with a dot on top of it means the rate of entropy production, and that's the movement of matter and energy. Within the constraints of the system, the universe selects the argument of the maximum, which is a fancy physics term that says it chooses the best of all of the possible configurations, the one that produces the most entropy, or the best of whatever trait we're looking for. And that's where evolution comes in. This is the missing link between how what we see in evolution was the exact same process as what put the original amino acids and molecules in those precursors of life. So we might say, hey David, doesn't that go against the law of entropy that says that everything goes from order to disorder? Actually, it's the two sides of the same coin, because while it might seem that we're going against the current of entropy, the structures that emerge actually help entropy move better than without the structure. And that's the key to understanding how and why we're here, how and why the original amino acids created life, and how we do anything we do. This is why if you have two planets, one may have life on it, one may not. And the one that does have life does so because within those constraints of the system, it helps energy move or break down things better than without them. And this might be a lot to take in if this is one of your first videos on the topic. And so I've got some more examples here. And we also have our atomizer. So to recap, we have, this is the Big Bang, and it's going towards ultimate entropy, ultimate black heat death, where nothing exists anymore. Everything is dissipated so far apart that time doesn't even exist because we don't have anything to compare anything else to. But don't worry, that's not for another trillion and trillions of years. And it's only theoretical. We'll probably never get to that point because something else is going to happen anyway. But within the billions and billions of years that we are here, galaxies get formed. The reason galaxies get formed is because the structure of the galaxy helped dissipate whatever matter and energy exists better than without them. As we go down the line, we've got nebulae and stars that's starting to form. And within those solar systems, we've got planets. And on some of those planets, if the conditions are right, we have what we call life. And when we have humans, in this case, we start having other inventions. But all of them, every time, all the time, are created and create things that only increase the entropy of the universe. And that's a bold statement, but that's why it's so easy. Because it turns out that any invention that we have, if you look at the patent office, every single patent office application has to do with improving something, helping something move faster, go faster, go more efficiently. And that's exactly the same process of ODC, optimally dissipative configuration, with which the original molecules of life got together, including Nebula here, that she wants to maybe help us. Yeah. Hi, Nebula. Are you going to help us? explain how entropy explains everything? So we're not actually going to activate our atomizer today because it makes a lot of noise. But the idea is that we've got all these atoms and molecules, and some of them have different size magnets on them or not. And when we activate this or agitate it or apply a driving force to it, new shapes emerge, just like in the primordial Earth when we had all these natural systems in our atmosphere like weather systems and cycles and tectonic plates, all of them creating structures because their existence helps entropy move faster than without them. So once in a while in the primordial Earth we'll have molecules that look like this, and the reason they get together like this is because it was their optimally dissipative configuration. They couldn't have been any other way. Let's go for a little walk at our Galileo corner. So we call this the Galileo corner because there was a time when we knew the Earth was the center of the universe, because we had no other frame of reference. We didn't know that there was a solar system or that the Earth was one of many systems. But inevitably, somebody came along with a telescope and took lots of notes, and they discovered that in reality, the Earth and many other planets are going around this star we call the Sun. But when he made these discoveries, not everybody was excited to hear about this, because sometimes the new science goes against the prevailing belief system. And this happens again and again in science and religion. But it's always only a matter of time that the civilizations accept the science, because it turns out that we're able to evolve, survive, and procreate better when we're able to follow the science than when we are not. And that's why evolution had no choice. The winning configuration, whether it's a life or a pre-life or even a business or an invention, the one that's able to produce the most is the configuration or business or life form that will prevail. And this is what we have in common with everything else in the universe. We're not so separate after all. Oh, I almost forgot. So let's read a little excerpt from one of our books from the Entropy, the Sentience series, available at Amazon. It's an illustrated book that explains a lot of the things we talk about in these videos. And I have one excerpt here called The Strategy Called Darwinian Evolution. And you can follow it at home if you have it. In this book, we follow the same current into the world of selection, struggle, and survival. Because if energy learns to move by building structures that work, then evolution is one of its oldest and cleverest strategies. Long before plans or purpose, life was already testing options. Traits shifting, forms diverging, some failing, some lasting. A jaw better shaped for biting. A feather light enough for lift. A color that hides. A call that gathers. Each one a slight improvement in how energy spreads through the living world. Evolution didn't resist entropy, it used it. It let time and pressure refine what endures and what fades, not just in biology, but a thermodynamic design, a natural configuration that helps life adapt, scale, and persist, like everything that lasts, like us, like the instincts we carry, the bodies we inherit, the species we come from. All of them optimally dissipative configurations, serving the same flow, each one helping energy fall beautifully through us. And that's why evolution had no choice. How physics forced life. The second law of thermodynamics inherently carries with it this law of creation. It's like two sides of the same coin, because the structures that emerge are the ones that help entropy the most through optimally dissipative configuration. So thanks for joining us. I'm David. This was Nebula the Physics Cat, and she's getting tired, I can tell. And we will see you next time on Law of Creation.